All right. Abibifahoodie, Abibitumi, Hotep, Alafia, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Kuchishiwala, race first, black laws for all black people. Good evening, brothers and sisters, first-time listeners, as well as first-time viewers on YouTube. Welcome to another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma on Due to Knowledge Radio. We are happy and blessed to be with you once again. We're your host, Brother Oláyínká, Brother Khamuo Heru, Brother Farugh Maat. We are a unified body of concerned people, visual artists, musicians, business owners, researchers, truth seekers, teachers, healers. And our goal is to create dialogue surrounding music, culture, politics as it relates to African people's sovereignty, autonomy, and economic empowerment. Here represented as the Urban Shamans Productions, the African Independence Day Organizing Committee, and Be Maya Incorporated. Before we jump into tonight's show, or jump into our topic with our guests, we want to let you know that part of the Sonic and Ngoma broadcast is brought to you by the Urban Shamans Productions, the African Independence Day Organizing Committee, Be Maya Incorporated, the Stoop, Heru Custodial Maintenance and Home Renewal, Temple of the Black Messiah, and of course, Due to Knowledge Radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for joining us on another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma, along with our guest, who we're going to talk to very, very, very shortly. Our Sister V, Sister Lavinia M. Davis, of course. First of all, welcome to the Sonic and Ngoma. And what's up?
Peace and love, Black Power. Thank you for having me. I'm glad that we're able to build. So thank you for inviting me to this platform. It's very important. I'm just great to be here. Glad.
Yeah, well, you know, we've been having a series all month long, our African Warrior Women's series. We started off with Dr. Iya Ajua Heru a couple weeks ago, and then last week we had, of course, well, going back, Iya Ajua, well known for writing the Book of Claim. And then, of course, last week we had the founder, executive director, the mother of the Million Woman March herself, Empress Chi, Empress Philae. And now this week, we have you, Sister Lavinia. We have you in the house. And we're getting, you know, all kinds of African women, Black women from, you know, very diverse backgrounds, young and old. You know, it doesn't matter. But we wanted to kind of like highlight for the month of November, Black women, African women, and what they were doing in the community. And so it just, you know, let me really, you know, become fully fully aware of the fact that, you know, a sister such as yourself and a young sister is doing big things and very, very, very powerful things in the community in the city of Philadelphia. So I'd like to get started really with, you know, getting a little bit of your background as far as, you know, your background and what you're doing, the phenomenal work, should I say, that you're doing over at the North Philadelphia Peace Park. And we can get into the whole history of the Peace Park and what it is that you're doing and some of the initiatives that are happening there. As a matter of fact, you'll be having a Black Marketplace coming up very, very soon, which I want you to talk about and elaborate on as well. But let our audience know who are not familiar with you, Sister V. You know, let them know who you are and, you know, how you came about this walk.
Yeah, so my name is Lavinia, mostly known as V. So you're going to hear people calling me V all the time. But I came into the movement because I felt obligated. I felt a strong pull, and I realized that I couldn't be disappointed in the community without being fully invested in the community. So I started to look for like-minded people. Let me go back. So I went to IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and I attended Rosemont for some time. So I went to school. I've been studying psychology and criminology for about 16 years. I've been a domestic violence counselor for a little over 8 years. So those are like the key things that I've been focusing on as far as that with my studies. But what was very traumatizing for me was watching the murder of Trayvon Martin. And that's when I started to really say, okay, that's it. I got to get involved. So I went to the Farrakhan. He came to Philly. He did it. He had a speech, and I went and I listened. It was for the Justice or Else, but I ran into some other people that were organizing. And at the time, I was actually organizing for another group, and we were trying to build a chapter in Philly because we wanted to build something that was like the UNIA, that was for Black people and trying to unify. So I ran into the brother Ron Green, and he was like, "Hey, you know about RBG Fridays?" And I was like, "No, what's up with it? Where y'all at?" So he was like, "It's every Friday. Come out." So this day, and I remember it was pouring down, raining, and I called him and I said, "Well, are you guys outside or you inside? Where's the building? What's happening?" Because I really didn't know about it. Um, I'm in the middle of the hood. I'm from the hood. So a lot of grassroots organizing, when I say I'm with that, that's where I'm at. My grandma has always been involved in things in the immediate community and with the people. So I wasn't exposed to the conscious community really, but I've always been working for and with the people. So when I got with Ron and I went out there and I was like, I love this. I love what you're doing. And for those that's not familiar with RBG Fridays, it was an initiative that we had that every Friday from 5 to 8, we would be on the corner and we would be talking to our people. Like we would go to the corner where we knew people would be going for transportation, where we knew there would be high drug trafficking, where we knew there could be some prostitution, etc. And we wanted to really just deter that activity, but also share love with our people. So when we were out there, we would give canned goods, we would give out literature, some clothing. Sometimes we would do, like, we really just wanted to speak life into the people. So we always made sure that we even screamed Black love, Black unity, protect the Black man, the Black woman, the Black child. So it was intergenerational. That was the beautiful thing. And we had rules. It was, we don't come out here and talk politics. We don't talk about sexuality. We don't talk about religion. Like just the key things that have us arguing all of the time. We said, no, we're not going to do this. So if you're Black and you love your people and you just want to get involved however you can, that was the place for you. That was the place for us. So soon after, I visited the UNIA at 121, and we got involved. Like we all we all hit the ground and we said, hey, what can we do? How can we help? And from there, I've been involved. I made sure that I started to meet more people and work with more people. A lot of the work that I do, I tend to do it like organizing underground. Um, I do a lot of political prisoner work as well, a lot of organizing around that. So I'm a part of an organization that I can't really say because I gotta, do some work to make sure I can continue to do the work for our people. But I found a way to be strategic, to make sure that I was helping specifically Black people. So for the last couple years, that's what I've been doing. And then I came across to kind of bring it all together, to condense it, my time. I came across the Peace Park, North Philly Peace Park, which now known as the Philly Peace Park. And I had no idea what was happening. I really didn't know. Like, I'm from South Philly, so I would come to North Philly to, do some things and go to the UNIA building. Down here we got our own little side and everything. So once I went to the land, I had went for to hear a discussion. It was about like solutions and stuff and about freedom. So I went and I was like, wait a minute, this is what's happening over here. Farming and gardening in the middle of North Philly, and it's black-owned land, and it's black revolutionaries. Like, not people saying I'm for black people, I'm a revolutionary, but actual organizers and activists that have been doing it for years. Once I went, I never left. So that's where I stayed. For me, it was important to commit myself to an organization, to people that were committed to being solution oriented and implementing those solutions. Because it wasn't enough to just say, okay, here's the solutions. It's like, all right, are you going to implement them? So once I became, I've just been at the park for a while. I stayed with the park, and it's been like really for me an eye opener in a lot of ways. A lot of times us revolutionary folks, conscious people, whatever we call ourselves, we tend to think that we need to move to do the work, to be land-based. And reality is that you do not need to leave to be land-based. You need to take the land that is around you and help the people that are around you. So that's what I've been doing. And a lot of my work there is working on programming. I do a lot of like counseling. I'm the director of mental health and wellness over there now. So that kind of, just a little summation of what I do.
Yeah, I think that the North Philly Peace Park, when I think about it, is like an oasis, and in the middle of an urban blighted desert. Of course, gentrification is the buzzword for every major city in the United States. Philadelphia is no exception. In the area that Temple University has, created a strong foothold in, and at the same time has renamed, the community in Philadelphia, in North Philadelphia, in that section of the city, Templetown. So, but what you all are doing at the North Philly Peace Park is commended, is very, very much respected. And I know that it has really been a challenge even. It's been great because it has attracted a lot of young brothers and sisters to come out and support the Peace Park, to work with you all. And at the same time, it's been a challenge to maintain it because, of course, anything that seems progressive for African people who are doing this with really no help financially, politically, and have really claimed a space for themselves. Of course, there are individuals who, want to take it. You know what I mean? To try to wrestle it away. And you all have had, your battles in trying to, maintain the North Philly Peace Park. In your estimation, share with the audience what the Peace Park means to that area of North Philadelphia, because not only have you all established Peace Park in North Philadelphia, you have now expanded and established a West Philly Peace Park. So talk about what it means to the community, because what you all are doing in creating that oasis is providing so much for that community, as far as the community garden that you all have established, and the fruits and the vegetables and the things that you are producing, and that you are, actually helping to feed the community. But as a resource, talk about really the impact of the Peace Park and really what it means for the various individuals who live in that neighborhood around the Peace Park.
Um, it is a sacred space. It's really a sacred space. So you have people that have been affected in multiple ways, right? And some ways we know, we acknowledge immediately, and then some we don't. But the fact that you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables in your own community, and you have many different stores that have outdated items in there and expect you to just take whatever, that was a problem. That was really a problem. So to have the park there now, whereas it's open fence, it's not like the other gardens, the other farms, it's open fence, which means that you can come and you can get what you need. And I think that with dignity, though, like, you don't have to feel ashamed. You should not feel ashamed. Like, it's for us. And I think that means a lot to the people when they come and they can receive food, love, support, have someone listen to them, let them know, like, you matter. You are not disposable. You matter. These are not conditions that you created. This was intentional. So I think to come to a space like that and to be able to see beauty in your neighborhood, too often we're told that you gotta leave, you gotta leave, you gotta move. Like, the community is horrible. Not realizing, though, that that's done by design. So then gentrification, as we know, kicks up, and then you're gone and you have nowhere to be. So instead of everybody coming together and say, you know what, let's build, let's really build and be land-based, let's get this together. We tend to go our own ways and practice individualism. So to see that and to see people not giving up, not giving up on the community, even at times, like you say, struggling, being in a battle with, PHA, with officials, different people saying, like, hey, this isn't, this, you guys don't deserve this, like, this isn't yours, etc. And it's like, wait a minute, this is our land, and we're going to fight for it, and we're going to fight for our people however we need to do that. So people being able to see that, not have, knowing that people won't give up on them, I think that gives them inspiration, encouragement, and being able, we know that is linked to your mental health, being able to look out and see green space that you can go to and have a peace of mind. That means everything. And it allows you to start to be accountable for your own behavior, for your friends' behavior, because then you start saying, wait a minute, I see people coming here cleaning up every day. Why are we throwing trash out? Why are we littering like this? I see people treating each other in a respectable way, talking to each other with respect, with love, having empathy and sympathy. It makes you reflect and say, okay, you know what? Maybe I didn't have to call that person this name. Maybe I could say, hey, brother, hey, sister, instead of, yo, nigga. Like, so, just little things like that, I feel like definitely have inspired the people, and it has meant a lot. But like we said, knowing that it's a food desert, knowing that, okay, this is something that's here that I can eat, I can be healthier, knowing that, okay, there are people there that are willing to give me therapy, that are willing to counsel me, and maybe I don't have access to those resources in quality care, because that's important. A lot of times, sometimes, that care is offered, but it's not quality. And it's from people that don't necessarily look like us, so they don't understand us and they haven't had our experiences. So I think that, definitely, well, I know that having a park there has created change. Like, we're like, it's Peace Town. That's what we call it. And you see a difference. You definitely do.
Has this whole issue with COVID, with the coronavirus, affected the various different things that you do at the Peace Park, or has it been something that has not affected anything that you've done at the Peace Park at all? You all continue to do the various different events and programs that you've been doing even prior to COVID?
Yeah, for us, so we have our business part, which is called Green Wall Street.
Right.
And we knew like, okay, stepping up production for the things that we need, which, from our tinctures and stuff to help your body, or your wild
Mhm.
cherry bark, saying like, these are the things that you need to be putting in your body now to help your system.
Mhm.
We knew that as an essential business, we would have to step it up even more and be open more. And it gave
Mhm.
people a chance to really practice and have self-determination and think
Mhm.
about, what does it mean to be independent and step back from a system that has
Mhm.
shut down, that has left us in the cold on our own. Like,
Mhm.
what would our world look like without relying on their stores, etc.?
Right.
So it was an unfortunate time for
Right.
those who got sick, for those who lost their lives, etc.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I believe for Black people, it helped us, it pushed us to do more
Mhm.
and to do better. It pushed us to become our own answer, to have reliance on the collective, and not just
Mhm.
because people that had money, that didn't have money, that was around, wasn't, they were affected. Everyone was affected. No one was exempt from this. So it really forced us to humanize each other, to work together, to have empathy. And we knew that it would do that. So we prepared ourselves to up our programming in different ways. So we're in the park and we still practice social distancing in a good
Mhm.
way. But we also said, okay, we have to be here. We have to do our produce days more. So we kicked that up some more because we knew people would need more food. We knew that. We did more clothing drives and stuff. We knew that that had to happen. And we did
Mhm.
more farming. We had to up that. But one of the most important things I would say we did, which is all of them are important, but we also went online with virtual wellness check-ins. So we
Mhm.
wanted to tell our community, whether it's like in a immediate vicinity or just out there wherever you are internationally, that we were here to support you. So we
Mhm.
did a lot more calls, a lot more virtuals and stuff, just to give people that opportunity to
Mhm.
express how they felt, or to even listen to some advice. And we call some of
Mhm.
these programs building while healing. So how to say, okay, I may not be where I want to be, but I can still build. And I have to do
Mhm.
the healing as I build. Stopping
Mhm.
is not the answer. So,
Mhm.
we did a lot of intentional building, a lot more. So for us, the COVID didn't stop anything. And I think
Mhm.
that we actually, not I think, I know we influenced a lot of other groups to kind of step it up with their orgs, as well as
Mhm.
the city, because when we started, we knew we didn't have a choice. No one was giving out food in the city. There was no food.
Right.
There was no supplies. Like, we did mass drives as well, and
Right.
it wasn't happening. So we started. We sacrificed from our pockets. We took donations, from supporters of the park. We're very thankful for everybody that supported with their time or financially or sharing posts or whatever, however you contributed. That
Mhm.
helped the community, it helped the people, it helped us. So it just made us realize even more why we have to do what we do, that
Mhm.
it's not an option. So
Mhm. As a young Black woman, as a young African woman who came into consciousness of herself and her people, and from that began to establish a cultural paradigm that was committed to um, helping her people, wherever they may be at, um, to rise up out of the conditions that we find ourselves as African people here in America and all over the world. Who, as a young African woman, were some of your biggest influences, people that you revere, people that you respect, who, committed their lives to this movement, or women that weren't, a part of this movement, but really helped to mold and shape the young woman that you are today?
Okay. Well, first, let me say, when I was younger, I came across Malcolm X movie. Like, it was out, and I was drinking my apple cider on the couch. I think it was like the day after New Year's, or maybe the day of, or something. But I was watching it and I felt something. I felt like this fire, and it was this respect for how I seen Black people working together, like just the parts from like the marching together, speaking to each other with respect, loving each other. None of the end didn't stick in my mind, none of the bad things. It was really the good things, the unity that stuck in my mind and in my heart. But I felt something like, yeah, you gotta fight for what you believe in, you gotta like speak up some. And then my mom, she took me to the Million Women's March. I'll never forget that. And I always tell Empress Philae that was powerful, and it meant something to so many of us. And to be around that type of energy, and I was able to watch the interview that you did with her, and I was like, watching it like that, and to have that experience with my mom, who wasn't what you would say conscious, but I think all Black people are conscious in different ways and different levels. So she had already like exposed me to some people that carry themselves with Black pride and Black love. So to be able to experience that, it stuck with me. So those were some influences, but I would say my grandmother, who was known, she just passed last year, and she impacted so many people. Like at her funeral, we had it at the Tinley Temple, and everybody couldn't even fit in there, and people was coming in and out. And someone told me, like, to see grown men crying about the loss of your grandmother, and to hear them come up there and say she saved my life, like literally saved my life. And these was the stories, and she had so many people like mom, she took them in as her own. It dawned on me, like, this is why I've been passionate about my people all of my life, watching her help people even go to programs and get help with their rent, get help with, their light bills, their utilities and stuff. And her just being out there. Like, I remember someone got assaulted at a store. It was a young Black girl, and it was an Asian man, and it was like, he said she was stealing or something, and he like grabbed her arm or whatever. And my grandma, she went down there and she was ready to fight them, and she shut down with the store. And I was out there with her. I didn't really realize what was happening, but I was out there with her, and we were telling people not to go in the store. She was like, we boycotting this. And what was crazy was the girl that was assaulted came in like the next day, like a day or two later. She was like, I'm all right, I'm going in the store. And I was like, what the hell? We out here fighting for you, and you going back in the store. But it was just things like that. And when I reflect on it now, how passionate she was, and for our people and for our community, like being in such a volatile neighborhood though, but being able to share love and receive love, that always stuck with me. So I always think about people that I knew, that I know, and how they have impacted me. And I say, you know what? We don't give our people enough credit. We don't acknowledge our folks enough. Like, we acknowledge, the greats and people we don't know, but who made you who you are? Who molded you? Who helped you? So I have to, acknowledge and give credit to my grandma because she made me resilient and resistant. So there's no space that I go in feeling like, oh my God, I'm a woman, so I'm not going to be heard, or I'm blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I don't allow that. That wasn't an option in our home. So she's definitely someone who impacted me and encouraged me to be me and to fight harder. Then when I in the movement, when I came, my time like in the UNIA and stuff, and I served as the VP briefly over there as well. I came across Sister Basima and Mama Pam Africa and Sister Ramona Africa, Mama Kosawa, and some other elders, but them specifically took a liking to me, and I took a liking to them, and it was like, do this, be you, don't let nobody stop you. Everything's not going to be perfect. And yeah, you're going to get some looks. Because I've dealt with different things, judgmental stuff from people in the movement. That's fine. But they've always been like, go higher, go higher. Why not try to be the first woman president over here? Why not do this and that? It was always encouragement and support and love. Like when I first came in and was introduced to it, and it was because of Mama Pam and Sister Ramona that I really started looking deeper into our political prisoners as far as fighting for them. Not just saying like free them, etc., but really being involved in organizing specifically for them outside of the other work. And I realized that not enough people were doing it, and not enough people do it now. So those, I would say, have been my big influences as far as like the women and stuff. And then you have like going to the North Philly Peace Park. I would say our brother Tommy Joshua, which was one of the founders of the Peace Park.
Shout out to brother Tommy. Yeah.
Yes. Learning about the history of the Peace Park. It was founded in 2012 and stuff, and just seeing like the growth of it, the evolution, and the resilience and resistance about what it means to be land-based in the U.S., what it means to be land-based in the hood here right now. That has changed a lot for me. And it also made me acknowledge, my own flaws, my own faults, and what I needed to be doing more of. So I realized like, okay, yeah, I say we need land. Yeah, I say we need the farm. But a lot of times you'd be like, all right, you going to farm real fast? Okay. We don't actually do it ourselves. So it was like, okay, no, go out there and do it. Participate in it. And, so I definitely credit the North Philly Peace Park, the Philly Peace Park, for pushing me to go even farther into the fight for our people in our city, where we are locally first, and expanding globally. So,
and what role does coming up in South Philly have in in formulating the woman that you are today? And the reason why I ask that is because I too am from South Philly. Shout out to SP.
SP.
Did that have a lot to do with who you were and who you are evolving and becoming as a young Black woman, as a young African woman?
Absolutely. It made me not fearless, but it made me you definitely have to be more cautious. You pay attention to who's around you, what they're saying, what they're doing, but you won't be stagnant and you won't be stumped by fear. You have to keep going. So once growing up in South Philly, it had me like, well, right is right and wrong is wrong. And watching, like having a culture here, it was like, I remember that some of the guys around the corner from me, because I lived like in the heart of South Philly, they had beat up some cops that was walking the beat because cops had said something and they kicked their asses. They were not afraid of them. And just to see that type of resistance in a way where it was like they felt disrespected, they felt attacked, and it was, hey, I can defend myself. Like, we can have self-defense. So growing up here, and then also it affected me as far as like you're traumatized in so many ways because there's so much terror in your community and you don't even realize it. So that terror, you know, it has that trauma. So knowing that means that I have an obligation, a duty to help somebody else because I know that they have been traumatized in one way or another. Watching people be beat. I remember I was maybe 8 or 7. I watched someone strip their family. It was like they were all drunk, they were having a party, and they stripped the man naked and put him in the trunk of the car and shot at the trunk. So like they didn't shoot him, but they shot like it. So it's like just watching those things, being caught like in a shootout, crossfires as a young child. I probably was like maybe 6 or so, and it happened to be like all these cars were missing on the side that I was at. So I was all the way down the street and my family was up some, and then seeing, you know, my uncles risk their lives to like be laying low some and running down to come get us. Those things taught me, and it helps me in a movement, that I will never disrespect a Black man and say that he has not been there for me and will not die for me and live for me and fight for me. I will never do that. My experiences in South Philly have taught me that Black men and Black women, when we work together, we help each other, we heal each other. So it taught me to be resistant, very resistant, and to keep going. And I'm thankful, you know, for those experiences because it makes me want to keep helping people. It lets me know that, okay, I came from here and I was exposed to these things and I could have went either way. Who knows, you know, what would have happened if I wouldn't have watched Malcolm X, or if I wouldn't have went to the Millions Women's March. Like, who knows where I would be or what would happen? Who knows what would have happened if I didn't have uncles that loved me and that showed me that? If I didn't have a mother, a grandmother that loved me, how would I feel? Would I love other people? Would I be okay? Because a lot of times we forget that people, they have feelings. Even though they act like they don't, they do. So a lot of times they're saying, well, ain't nobody care about me, so why should I care about somebody else? So it made me more empathetic. Definitely.
Talk about some of the initiatives that are going on presently at the Peace Park. Some of the things that you are doing. I know that I would think that there wouldn't be a whole lot going on now going into the winter, because, you know, the Peace Park is an outdoor oasis. It's an outdoor facility for the entire community. But talk about some of the things that you are presently working on before the weather does get cold. But I'm sure you all take care of business as far as the Peace Park is concerned, indoors, continuing to plan and strategize and continuing to expand your garden, your community garden, or, different kind of programs that you all want to put into effect in the spring and summer. So talk about some of the things that you're doing currently before the weather changes.
So we're still working in the garden. People are still able to come down and pick from it. We were just out there Sunday working. We got some kale and all that beautiful stuff, some tomatoes still. So we're still doing that. But also our business.
Mhm.
You know, we make things, we make our own stuff, so we definitely have that, and that creates Black jobs, you know, Black business owners there. But the school education, we are still building our pavilion, so we are preparing for that. So we've been actually having meetings, education meetings, you know, about curriculum and different things. So we are in a phase one where we're also figuring out how we can assist the children that are in school right now during, you know, school hours and after school hours and stuff like that. So we are actively working on the education program, and of course, you know, we always have students, people that come by and visit, that have so many questions, that want to do some work, that are learning about soil, learning about, you know, crops and stuff like that. So we have that. We have design, um, that continues all year long. So with the design, we're working on landscape. Right now, we are expanding more. We're about to add, expand the garden, but we're also developing the block, or what we call Peace Town. So, you know, we've been having some meetings about that. So the design continues. We're always looking for Black designers, architects, people to come and get involved with us. We are working on, you know, every Saturday we have our cleanup for the houses for our workspace, which is one is our admin building, so we can actually be on site more and do work inside of the building, and, you know, like a little community space, and where we can design things as well in our production. We have another building that will be, you know, partly with our store in there. We will be doing more food, you know, more production in there as well. Some wellness services. We definitely are creating the space, designing that to make sure that it's a safe space to come and get some of your counseling done. So, those are like some of the key things that we're doing, but we are active, and we will it, we're upping the programming, and November 29th we have a free produce day. um, we know it's that time. We want to make sure that people have food, fresh fruits, vegetables, and stuff. We know that a lot of people celebrate Thanksgiving. A lot of people will use the money, everything they have, to get the food that they need. And then you get tired of eating the same food or whatever, and you don't have anything left. So we want to make sure that people don't have that problem, that they do have access to the things that they need without having to travel so far to get them. Um, we're having our Black marketplace, which is Black vendors, businesses. You know, we want to make sure that we do that so people still have an opportunity to make money. Like things don't stop. The economics, they matter. They matter for us to be able to do what we need to do, and to be self-reliant, self-determination. Like, we can't keep going outside of our communities, outside of ourselves, to try to get funding to do something. So that's how we want to support other Black businesses, other Black people, by opening up that space.
That's very that's very similar. Excuse me. That's very similar to what we're doing on our official webpage, AfricanIndependenceDay.org. We started a virtual African marketplace, because vendors, you know, have to have an opportunity to, you know, sell their items and their goods. With a lack of events that are happening because of COVID, they don't have the opportunity to do that. And for, you know, some vendors, this is how they, you know, are able to feed their families, you know, keep a roof over their head, clothes on their back, you know what I mean, and food on their table. And so, you you have to create the opportunity for them, to be able to be, to have, access to, the community, and bring the community to them so that they can sell their items and their goods. And when by you, really elaborating on what the black marketplace was, it's on time. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, vendors need this, and I think that's just a wonderful thing that you all are doing.
Yes, thank you. And I love that you're doing it virtually, because, it's hard out here right now for us. We have different groups that believe different things right now as far as when it comes to the virus. Some people are like in complete denial. They're like, hey, it's not going to happen. Some people are panicking. They are afraid. They are isolating themselves. And then you have some that I would say fall in where we are. Like, hey, it doesn't matter if it's man-made or not or whatever. It's here. People are getting sick. We have to take it serious. We got to know what's happening, and we got to figure out how to strategically and intentionally move to make sure that we can sustain, so then later we can thrive. So we know and understand that it was bad when people lost their jobs, people lost their homes. You didn't know where you were going to go. So with some people getting some things back in order, which majority have not, but we know that it forced a lot of people to say, okay, you know what, let me start that business that I said I was going to start a long time ago. Let me actually do it now, because I don't have a choice. And once they did that, it's like, okay, well, who's going to support me? Where's the backing? And for us, it's like, okay, we have an opportunity to help. So let's open up the space and let's help. So we want to make sure that, we practice social distancing, that we, follow the guidelines, because we want to be responsible. We don't want to be irresponsible. And I don't agree with what people are telling some folks, saying like, hey, don't worry about it. You don't need this. You don't need that. I've had some loved ones who got sick from it. So it's real. It's real. Man-made or not, whatever you want to call it, it's real. And if your health is bad, that's going to make it even worse for you. And a lot of us, because of what we have in our community, we're not the healthiest. So, just making sure that we encourage people to be safe, support each other, like shop and go, don't like hang out all in each other's faces and stuff. Like right now, we can't afford to do that, but we can afford to create the space and support each other safely.
Yeah, I know that's what, myself and Brother Farugh and Brother Khamuo have been talking about, because usually in December for the past now going on 6 years, we have a Buy Black Kwanzaa celebration that we've had the last couple of years at the Church of the Advocates, and this year, we're not going to have it. We can't take that risk. You know what I mean? As far as people's safety and health is concerned, we have to be very mindful of what we're dealing with, whether Corona or COVID is a hoax or if it's real. You know what I mean? There is something that is going on out here. People are getting sick. Whether it's 5G towers or whatever. People are getting sick, and there are a lot of casualties to this, to this. A lot of people are dying. So we have to, keep in mind what's going on here. You know what I mean? Not scare ourselves to the point that we totally psych ourselves out, but at the same time, be mindful, look, listen, observe, and respect everything that's going on around you. Yeah. You know what I mean? What, we say, you got to do the knowledge to everything that is going on around you, you know, everything that is happening. So, you know, that you bring up an excellent point in that. I wanted to also talk to you. I knew I wanted to have you on the show. I know a couple weeks ago, you and myself and Brother Carl were on Time for Awakening with our good brother Elliot Booker and Brother Richard. And shout out to both Brother Elliot and Brother Richard of Time for Awakening, you know, which comes on Sundays on timeforowakening.com. Peace to Brother Carl Tone Jones.
Peace.
Our good brother who we hope to have back on the show in a couple of weeks, actually. But we were talking about the whole political climate, everything that was taking place with the election, the presidential race, and now that all the smoke is cleared, I remember prior to the election, we were just talking about where we stand as a people and what we must do. And I remember you saying, and you spoke very, very eloquent that night, that, you know, we have to do for self. If you put all your eggs in one basket, thinking that by you voting in an elected official that you're going to get out of these conditions that you're in, that's foolish. Just because you vote, or if you don't vote, you still got to do for self. You know what I mean? I remember you were saying, you were saying something, and I'm paraphrasing, to that effect. Now, if you vote, you know, fine. I mean, that's your thing. All of us don't vote. But we're saying we still have to do for self as a people. And I wanted you to kind of like go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit more, and share what you said a few weeks back on Time for Awakening, because I thought it was very, very, very profound. And I think that it's more relevant now post the so-called election, although they said it's still going on, votes still being counted in Georgia. This is the never-ending election, they're calling it. But you know, but speak to that point that you were saying a couple weeks ago, because I thought it was very, very, very well addressed, the idea that don't get fooled just because you voted somebody in. We still have to do for ourselves as a people. We have to be in a position to be totally to strive to make ourselves totally self-sufficient, but in the areas of education, in the areas of agriculture, in the areas of housing. We must continue to work towards self-development and self-sufficiency.
Yeah, we forget that, because I think that the biggest issue right now for us, well, during this time, was everyone started to act like Trump invented racism, invented these conditions, et cetera, et cetera. It's like,
and they existed prior to him.
No, this is not like, we have been talking about this for years. You mentioned your ancestors because they were slaves. The only time some people say my ancestors is when they want to justify with voting, and they say my ancestors died to vote. Although no, they died for a lot of things, which means that if they died for that, what were the circumstances that they were facing? What were the conditions happening at that time? So, you know, if we look at the history and we pay attention to what has been happening, once we started relying on the system, relying on others, we lost. We lost ourselves, we lost our families, we lost our community, we lost our dignity. And we started to say, how am I going to feed myself? They say, hey, no, we're going to give you stuff, and you're going to come to our store and you're going to spend your last dime, or maybe we might give you some food stamps that's not enough to even feed your whole house. Maybe we may help you with housing, but then tell you that the man who actually is providing though for you and the family, but maybe on hard times a little bit, he has to get out your house. He can't stay here with you. You need to kick him out. All of these things have started to transpire because we started to rely on them. We didn't know what to do. And I think that the pandemic, I hate it, but it happened at a time where we needed to have a reality check. And I wish that would have lasted a little longer, because then we would have had a better understanding, even going in further into this election, by saying that all of this voting has not saved us. It has not helped us as a whole, collectively. I'm not talking about one or two individuals. I'm not talking about when they give us a little reform to make us buckle down. That's not what I'm talking about. So, saying, okay, I'm not going to learn how to grow food means you're saying that I trust that they're going to feed me. They didn't feed you. Things got shut down. Grocery stores were empty. So when you see this happening, you have to say, okay, you know what can I do to combat it? And for us, it's like, okay, no matter who's in office, you got to grow food. You need to learn how to grow food, because you don't know what's going to happen. When you see people come into a neighborhood in the community, higher officials, and they say, okay, you know what, well, we're going to bomb this house. You have to realize that they don't have your best interests at heart. They're not here to protect you. You are placed here to help them, to fuel their system, and you're funding their system every time you invest in it, because you think that they have your best interest at heart. So, I just get so disappointed when I think about, because so many friendships ended. I've seen it all transpiring online. People were like, and even some people that are, I'm not going to go there. Some of the elders, disrespecting people that did not want to vote for, they say, the lesser of two evils, but you're still voting for evil. So why couldn't we say, you know what? Okay, let's pick somebody else who is running, and let's stand behind them. Let's back them.
Or as M1, or as M1 of Dead Press says, excuse me, sister, M1 says that the evil of two lessers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Even with that, it's like, if you feel like you needed to pick somebody, why did you have to pick them? Why did you have to pick people that you have seen their history throughout this time and what they have done? You don't like the person we just had, you didn't have to pick them either. It wasn't a either or. So to me, it's like we're lost. And sometimes I'm like, wait, is this what we want? Like, is this as far as we want to go? Like, what do we need? But I know deep down inside that that's not true. It can't be true. I hope it's not true. So it's unfortunate, though, when you have people that are backing people that are detrimental to the community. When you see the leaders, quote unquote leaders, gatekeepers, step out and say that somebody is going to be for us, that influences and encourages the people to go out there and fight for them, to work for them. I just, it disappoints me, and I'm kind of stuck on it, because everything is flashing through my head from the discussions that have been had, the fights that have been had, that I've seen online. And I'm like, once again, y'all don't realize white people got black people fighting each other again. Like, we fighting, you fighting over two white men in their 70s. And a black woman, they say, a black woman, a person of color, who is not married to a black man. So, as a woman, as a wife, who should my interest be for? Who should my obligation be for? My husband, right? So if it's for my husband, wouldn't I want to see the best in him, and wouldn't I want to see everything he believes in protected? So my husband and my boss represent white supremacy. Where is that going to leave me? Who am I actually voting for and fighting for? Now, you know, I know some people will be upset with that. They don't believe that, they want to fight over it, but it's like, take it for what it is. Our conditions have not changed. They haven't gotten better with the people you love that have been in place for a long time. So we need to stop being in denial. We need to be honest, and we need to work together, because if we don't take control of our communities, if we don't help each other, we don't build collectively, we're done.
As we move towards close, and you may want to share any final thoughts that you have, how can people get in touch with you? How can people get in touch with the Peace Park, whether it's North Philly Peace Park, West Philly Peace Park? Get involved, become involved in the growth and development of the oasis that has been created for us as African people, as Black people. How can people get involved with the Peace Park? How can people get in touch with you? And you know, any final thoughts or things that you want to share with the audience?
I would say, don't forget that we have to work together. It's not a Black women only working with Black women, Black men only working with Black men. We can't do that. We can't be like that. And if you're serious about organizing, if you're serious about mobilizing, because you should be organizing to mobilize. You don't do it to sit around and eat fresh food together and laugh. That's not what it's about. It's about the liberation. If you're serious, you need to pay attention to what people are saying when you're working with them and when you're building. If they are telling you to exclude your man, to exclude your woman, then they are not the ones that are working towards liberation, period. You need to remove yourself from that type of divisive situation and person. It is not right. So I encourage us to realize that we have trauma that we have to deal with, and we can no longer continue to lash out at whole genders because of what our family has done to us, what an ex has done to us, what a mentor or whoever has done to us. We can't continue to do that. That is irresponsible, and it is divisive, and it's not being race first. So I encourage people to pay attention. I encourage us to no longer go out here and act foolish and do things that are detrimental to our health, to our growth, to our community, to our people, because we can't do what everyone else can do, and we shouldn't do what they do. We need to strategize. We need to organize together. Don't tear up your community, right? Don't do that. Get with some people and say, you know what? Let's take back our community. Let's change this. Let's force people out, and let's build the support systems that we need to protect each other. Because when we say let's defund the police, when we say let's abolish, are you having the discussions with people that say, okay, now let's build and have this system where we are protecting our community? Are they saying, here's a number that we're going to have for people that are in crisis, et cetera, et cetera? Like, are they coming with solutions? If they are not, the only thing they know is how to complain and how to tell you to be here and risk your freedom for some things that are not worth it. You need to remove yourself. our BLA did things that were worth it and for a cause and for a reason. Pay attention. So the other thing is like start growing food. Really start growing food. Like you can start with growing tomatoes, you can start with growing peppers, but really get with some people that's in the community, like how the perk was started. Like people really just got tired of vacant lots that were dirty, that were filthy, that was just breeding death. Like when you get tired of that, get some Black people in the community, in the neighborhood, and clean it up and take it over. Take it over. Develop, cultivate that land. Take what's yours rightfully. Do it strategically and do it collectively, not from an individualistic perspective. So those would be the key things I can think of right now. And educate yourself. Educate yourself, like learn more about what you speak about. Have a better understanding of the path that you're walking as well. When COVID came, I decided, you know what, let me take some courses on pandemics. I did the lessons of Ebola. I did improving the global healthcare system and equality. I did humanitarian response to disaster and crisis because I wanted to know what they would be thinking and how they would be responding. Because when you don't study that and know what they're saying, you don't know how to combat it. And you don't know how to do better. So take the time to do that study. Pay attention. Peace Park, you want to reach us, you can reach us at www.phillypeacepark.org. That is the website. You will be able to learn more about the school, get a little bit more of the history and the things that we do. Send us an email if you want to be a part of it or show up. We have 2 sites now. One is at North Philly at 2200 West Jefferson Street. The other one is in West Philly at 930 North 51st Street. You forget those addresses, that's okay. You can come on Instagram because we've got social media, and you can follow the West Philly Peace Park page and the North Philly Peace Park page. We are also on Facebook. You can follow us on at North Philly Peace Park. Our Gmail, if you have any questions, you can email us at phillypeacepark@gmail.com. Yeah, those are like the ways to get in touch with us. If you forget all of those things, just come on Instagram.
My sister, it has been a pleasure having you on this program. I'm very, very glad that we had the opportunity to bring you on. Don't be a stranger. You're always welcome to come back to the Sonic and Ngoma anytime you like. So we have an open door policy, and we definitely will invite you again to be a part of this program. And I'm like I said the other day to you on the phone when we were talking, it's just beautiful to have a platform like this, and definitely shout outs go and salutes go out to our good brother Knowledge Born Allah for his vision of Do the Knowledge Radio, of this station coming into fruition, and giving us the opportunity to have a show like what we have with the Sonic and Ngoma, and to be able to bring on very, very noted and sometimes people who are not very noted, but very, very powerful voices in our community. And you are one of the young people, one of the young Black women, one of the young African women that is really displaying a very, very powerful voice in our community, and really admire and respect the work that you have done from your days with RBG Fridays and What's Up African to what you do, as far as the therapy and the counseling that you do over at the North Philadelphia Peace Park, or should I say the Peace Park, and also helping people with their distress and things that are going on in their lives, and really striving to administer the proper medication of love, of understanding, and of deep soul searching to help people really reclaim their lives and become empowered by the things that exist around them, and one of those things being the Peace Park itself. So definitely thank you for joining us tonight and being a great guest, and we definitely love and appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I have so much love and respect for you, Brother Oba, and the rest of the team. Like you said, me and Brother Knowledge go back. But I definitely am humbled. I'm honored for you inviting me on here, for y'all to have me on here. I really appreciate it. And I appreciated this discussion. These are needed. This platform is needed. Your voice is needed. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to conclude with that tonight. But before we go, as we always do, how to get in touch with the African Independence Day Organizing Committee and Urban Shamans Productions. One of the great ways to get involved or to get in touch with us is to go to our official webpage, which is africanindependenceday.org, African spelled AFRAKAN. You can read it at the bottom of the ticker on your screen. Go to africanindependenceday.org, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. All kinds of great content, the history of African Independence Day, the history of the African do-for-self Junkanoo that we have each and every year, as well as the history of the founder of African Independence Day, our good brother, Ahmed Akil Tahir, founder, visionary of the African Independence Day Maat celebration. Read the history of African Independence Day, as well as you can catch up on any of our past episodes of the Sonic and Ngoma on africanindependenceday.org, as well as also going to the Urban Shamans page and hearing some of the great music from the Urban Shamans band. Of course, two of the members being Brother Farugh and Brother Khamuo of the Urban Shamans. You can also get in contact with us by email at africanindependenceday@gmail.com. Africans also spelled AFRAKAN. You can also get in contact with us on our business line, which is also open for business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And our number is 267-521-1544. That's 267-521-1544. Going back to the African Independence Day webpage, I talked about it earlier. Support our virtual African marketplace. We will not be having our usual pre-Kwanzaa celebration, but we will be promoting the virtual marketplace for vendors, and we are looking for vendors. So anyone who is a vendor or anyone who knows of a vendor, please share our information with them. We really want to have the opportunity to have vendors be in a space where they can sell their goods and their items in the community, being that there are very, very few cultural events going on around not only the city of Philadelphia, but all over the country because of this COVID thing. And now they're talking about more closures, more things being restricted. So they're tightening up restrictions in most areas around the country, most major cities around the country. So we want for vendors to feel that they do have an opportunity to continue to sell their goods and items. And please send them over to africanindependenceday.org, our official website, and we have all the information on how to get involved with our virtual African marketplace, our official Our official application is online there, so don't be afraid or don't be shy to go to AfricanIndependenceDay.org. You can also get in touch with us on social media. At Facebook, you can get in touch with us at the 16th Annual African Independence Day Maat Celebration 2020. And on Instagram, you can get in touch with us at African_Independence Day, African spelled the same way, AFRAKAN_Independence Day. And that is at Instagram. So with that, I'd like to, say good night to everybody. We look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Shout outs once again goes to the CEO and founder of DTKR, Do the Knowledge Radio, the one and only Knowledge Born of Law. Peace to the God. Thank you for being the great engineer that you are. And we couldn't do this without you each and every week. This is now our 30th episode. And we are very, 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 very happy to be a part of the Do the Knowledge Radio family. So for myself, for Sister Lavinia, thank you once again. I'd like to say Abibifahoodie, Abibitumi, Kujiti Wala, Wukusu, which means wake up, clean up, stand up, and Black Power. See you next Tuesday evening for another edition of the Sonic and Ngoma. Peace and Black Power.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. That in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the
motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.